Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is 7 p.m. on the East Coast Friday evening. I know usually I have a comedian here, but in case you hadn't noticed, I have been insanely busy these last couple of weeks. I am out crossing all over New York State, trying my best to get people to care about this liberty movement so we can get more votes coming up here. 2 months to election, but more importantly, people early voting are already voting. Yes, they're already out there voting already. People are already putting in their ballots or doing it, mailing them in, going to early voting. So we have work to do if we want to make some impact. It's what we have to do right now, and that's what I'm out there doing. So I'm also still trying to actually work to the best of my ability. A lot of time I'm using right now. So I apologize for not being able to go live as much as I could. I'm going live on my other page as I show a bunch of candidates in New York State that I'm trying to do. But here, not as much. I apologize. The page isn't as active, but we will. Got to give me a couple of weeks, and I'll be back in action, rocking and rolling as much as I possibly can. 3 shows this week, 1 or 2 next week. The week after, probably 4 or 5 again. So we'll get back soon into the 5 days a week with cool, awesome guests. It will be happening very soon. Thank you for your patience. With that in mind, please like, comment, share. Now you don't see me as much, so liking and commenting and sharing is even more important. In fact, if you don't want to like it, you can love it, you can sad it, you can hug it, you can do whatever you want. Click something so that those algorithms click in and see that we are still moving and the show hasn't gone away. It's here, rocking and rolling. So thank you for that. And of course, if you want to support me, love to. Head over $10, $25, $100, patreon.com/sharpeway. Let's move this forward if at all possible. I want to bring up something today that I saw an ad. Not an ad, a video. Sorry, a video about an ad. A video about an ad. That's what I meant. Yes. Where the video is from Reason Magazine, and it's talking about what ads are today. And that made me actually think about the idea of how in the world are we going to be able to kind of recover and turn things around from where we are right now. And let me, if I can, show you the video real fast, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I think you'll enjoy it.
This election, your choice couldn't be more important. Our candidate is in flattering lighting and full bright color. Their candidate is in grainy high contrast black and white, spotted through a telephoto lens from behind a bush, coming back from God only knows where. Our guy points at the horizon and holds a baby. Their guy doesn't have a baby. Their guy has a golf club. The voiceover for our guy is calm, measured, bright. Their guy gets the lower register, and sometimes we slow down.
He must be bad.
Our guy has clean headlines and the beautiful lens flare America needs. Here's a scary graph over a photo of their guy awkwardly laughing.
Down 287.
Do you want to snap him like that in office? Here's a photo of our guy saluting military veterans.
Yes.
Jump cuts, flashes, static, aggressive colors. You can't trust a guy with graphics like this.
Our
Our guy gets stock footage of sunrises and an American flag. Their guy's flag is upside down and on fire. Intercut with overdue bills, war, and a crying baby. Our guy gets doctors and astronauts and stimulus checks. Flatline, an eagle, hurricane, the Statue of Liberty. Crime scene tape, Ronald Reagan. A girl running in a wheat field to escape a dangerous sexual predator. Welding, atomic bomb. This election, the choice is yours. Their guy or our guy. Inspiring slogan.
Now, obviously that's a joke, but it's not, right? It's a joke, but it's not a joke. What you didn't see in that ad was an actual policy or an answer. And that's what same thing in everything else. You don't see any policies or answers. The funniest part is I watched both town halls. The one with Trump, that was ABC, and then the one with Biden, I believe it was CNN. Trump was heavily rhetoric. Here's what I've done. Here's what I've done, right? I think Trump's entire campaign is, look what I've done, which I get. That actually makes sense, right? He's trying to tell you what he's done, right? Vote for me because I did these things. So it makes sense. Biden's trying to create policy, right? Here's what I'll do. Here's my policy on what I'll do. The problem with the Biden side is that as he was trying to create policy, it was almost painful. Why is it painful? Because they don't have to have policy. There's no requirement for policy. It's just I'm not that guy, right? I'm saluting the troops, and he's evil with the graph pointing down. That's what this joke Reason Magazine came up with is really what we're doing, and it's a problem. The question becomes, how do we get around it? How do we recover from that? Now, most people don't understand this, and maybe it might be clear for some of you. There are many reasons why negative campaigning is so prevalent. One of them, believe it or not, is because we tried to make campaign finance better. Yeah, this is the stupidity of our campaign finance reform. As I keep telling you why the campaign finance reform does not work. They made more and more rules on campaign finance because the goal was if we got to get money out of politics, right? That was the goal. So let's make these rules and make it less corrupt and blah, blah, blah. There's more money in politics than ever. Whenever the government goes to war against something, there's always more of that thing. So they went to war against corruption. There's more corruption. War against money in politics. There's more money in politics every time. They need to have a war on small businesses, a real one, because then we'd actually have some small businesses. But no, they're not doing that. They're everything else they do becomes by default a war on small businesses. My point being, as they made these rules, two things happened. As they created so many detailed rules and regulations, the small guy who can't afford a large organization to go through all those rules and regulations is almost always going to have a problem, is almost always going to be wrong or make an error. And when they make an error, their opponent is going to say, fraudulent, election fraud. They're going to say that, right? Election corruption. They're going to say that. When I ran, I had libertarians who were so stupid and so backward and so idiotic, not in my campaign, but they were so mad they would say, why is Larry not doing this? Not realizing that in their attempt to be righteous, they just gave ammunition to our enemies to go, now it's fraudulent. Nothing was fraudulent. Of course it wasn't. There were errors made. Of course. The rules are so crazy. My first campaign, of course we made errors. We corrected them and then resubmitted. That's not illegal. That's not a problem. If you recognize a mistake and submit an amended return, there's no problems. So we did. But libertarians had to talk trash and act that way. They don't get that. That's fueling the fire. The more rules and regulations you have on campaign finance reform, the more the small third party little guy gets crushed. And that's the plan. But there's more to that. When they decided that super PACs and PACs are evil, they created them and then said we're evil. They said, well, they can't coordinate. So if I have a PAC, if I run for office again and a PAC wants to support me, they can't coordinate with me. So I can't tell them, here are my great policies. Here are my good things. Here's what I'm doing. Please promote positive stuff about me. That's against the law. Yes, this is how brilliant our lawmakers were. That's against the law. So the PAC thinks that I'm a good guy, or in this fictitious case, I don't know if anyone thinks I'm a good guy. But in this case, the PAC thinks I'm a good guy. They legally can't coordinate with me to tell people, we think Larry Sharpe's a good guy. Here's the good stuff about him. They can't. So what can they do? Here's what's legal. Slamming all of my opponents. Totally illegal. So if they want to give me money, I'm limited by campaign finance, right? So literally, if I'm a federal candidate, I can only get $2,800 per person. So I can get, right? So I get $2,800. But money in the PAC, millions go in the PAC. Millions. So if I want to personally create a commercial that says, Larry Sharpe's a great guy, and here's why he does great things, he wants great things, I get $2,800 per person. PAC wants to insult, demonize, call people names, all my opponents. They get tens of millions of dollars. That's the current system. And we wonder why we have negative ads. That's a major reason. The second reason, though, is it's easier. Because why do I have to have a policy when all I can do is go, the other guy's way eviler than me? In fact, I'm a saint and he's super evil. It's much easier. This is a system I'm concerned about. How in the world do we ever come back from this? How do we turn this around? Because as people become afraid, all we do is lock ourselves in our homes more, lock ourselves up with ours more. And sadly, ours, people who are now our people, we aren't judging them by what we agree upon. We're judging who our tribe is by who we hate. Who do we collectively hate? Oh, you hate that guy? Me too. Therefore, we're in the same team. Oh, you hate that thing? Me too. Therefore, we're in the same team. It's all the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's our current American politics. Not you and I agree on where the country should go, or you and I agree ideologically, or you and I agree politically, or you and I agree economically, socially. These things are not relevant. The point is, who do we hate? Oh, we hate? Okay, good. Then now we're together. Now, what should we believe? I know. Let's believe whatever our warlord believes. So whatever our warlord at the top of our ticket believes, that's what we believe. That becomes the norm. You believe that, or why are you part of our team? And now either you're with us or you're against us. Well, I don't want to be against you, so I guess I better believe all the things that you guys believe. It's almost like a forced cult in a way, and it's how it's working right now. So how do we change that? I know I've been a broken record, and I'll say it again. The answer is a third party, a third movement, but more importantly, we are, those of you who are part of the Libertarian Party, I know many of you watching aren't, and I get it, but you hear me preach, so you like the concept, or you wouldn't be watching me and listening to me preach. So even if you aren't Libertarian, you're still thinking, you're dipping your toe in, you're liking it, so it's okay, so keep listening, it's okay. If you're part of our movement, not watching, but you're actually part of it, remember something, we're small. There are very few of us. What does that mean? Each one of us is an ambassador. Each one of us represents our movement. If you're a jerk, people will think we're jerks. If you're kind, people will think we're kind. People will think whatever you are. So if you know you've been a jerk recently, I'm asking you, please stop. You don't have to. You can still keep being a jerk. You know I can't force you, and I would never want to force you. I'm asking you, if you're being a jerk, please stop being a jerk. At least for like 2 more months, all right? Then go back to being a jerk again. But give me like 2 months. Give me 2 months of not being a jerk and be as open as you can be as nice as you can be as conversational as you can be. I don't want us winning arguments. I don't want us winning debates. Instead, I want us having conversations. You've heard me say 1,000 times. This party does not need a savior. This movement does not need a savior. It needs hundreds and hundreds of heroes. That's what we need. Not one savior. This person's going to come in and fix everything. No, they never have. They're not going to. We need hundreds and hundreds of heroes. This is why I'm supporting the down ticket so much. Because each one of you who's doing something in your local community, you're one of those hundreds. We need hundreds and hundreds of heroes, not a savior. You're one of those heroes if you're listening to me. Be one of those heroes. And how do you do that? By literally having hundreds and hundreds of conversations. Sometimes with the same people, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, 8 times, 12 times. Constantly having those conversations, not fighting, just getting to understand there's another way. Because again, after November, there's going to be tens of millions of unhappy people in this country. Where are they going to go? To us. We have to change this idea of all there is the bad guy and the good guy. There's a whole lot more. Let me grab some comments if I could. I'm sorry. All right. A lot. Oh, God. A lot. Yes. If you're filling in as a comedian, I'm leaving. Yeah, I know, John. I'm not the best comedian. Sorry. I'm not. I can be amusing here or there, but I'm not going to get you to laugh out loud. It's not my thing. I did not miss my calling when I did not become a stand-up comic. But by the way, stand-up comics, a little off topic, but they're amazing. There's many reasons why I bring comics on Fridays. One of them is their industry is being devastated because they can't go to comedy clubs, right, in New York City. It's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. But it's a second reason. If you look at so many of the best talk show hosts, the vast majority are former stand-up comics. The skill sets that people gain by being a stand-up comic is very good for talk show hosts. So that's why I bring them on often, right? Many of them, Jon Stewart, Ellen DeGeneres, Stephen Colbert, just all the popular ones. I mean, they almost all of them. Conan O'Brien. I mean, just keep naming them. The vast majority of them were stand-up comics. So that's why I do it. It's great. So early voting starts in October now. Yes, early voting has started in other states too. I forgot where, but a couple states, they're already starting now. So people are already voting. Absolutely. Yes. So New York State in early voting. Florida starts 10/14. Yes, I don't think New York State's not starting yet, but some states are. Absolutely. See you in Torregs on a Tuesday at the Greenwich VFW. Yes. For those who don't know, I am crossing the state, as I mention all the time. Tori Alexander Victoria, or Tori, is running for Congress, and I've been supporting local candidates everywhere I go to the best of my ability, and I'm going to local places, VFWs, local taverns, shops, all those things. Some of you got mad at me when you said, well, Larry, you got a mask on. Why are you wearing the mask? Blah, 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 blah. I tell you where, I'll have to tell you exactly when and how I wear a mask. I wear a mask when I'm indoors when I'm indoors and I can't get 6 feet away, I wear a mask. If I'm in New York City, I have to wear a mask, or the facility gets in trouble if I'm indoors and not sitting down. Yeah, we have these rules in New York, the city specifically. If you're sitting down, you can take your mask off. I guess COVID floats around up here somewhere. So if you stand out wearing your mask, you get COVID. But if you don't, you're okay. I guess whatever the rules are. I don't want to get the restaurant in trouble because New York City is literally taking liquor licenses and shutting people down because their patrons don't do the right thing. So you may not like the mask. I don't like the mask. But it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. People like the mask. I'm putting it on. It's their private property. They want it. I'm putting it on. And I'm not about to crush somebody's business. So I will wear the mask. So if some of you are upset, I will wear the mask. You'll have to be upset. I'm not going to get some business shut down because you're mad about a mask. Don't watch that. Because if that business needs me to wear a mask for them to keep their liquor license, keep them open, I'm masking away. I have no problem with it. So most of the time you see I don't wear a mask because I do most of the events outside and I keep 6 foot distance. So nobody complains. I'm 6 feet away. I'm outside. But some of the events I've been inside or on a property of a restaurant and they are afraid that the government thugs are going to come by and shut them down. So I'm going to make those people happy. What they feel matters to me. They're being good enough to host me. I'm not going to be a jerk guest. I'm a good guest. They want me to wear a mask, then I will wear a mask. Not because I care either way, but that isn't the point. It's because it's their private property. That's what they want. I'm going to support them. So I hope you guys get that. Thank you. So change starts local. Tommy, yes. Local libertarian candidates. We have to run a serious candidate, not paper candidates. You are reading my mind. It's exactly what I was talking about. 100%. Absolutely. We have to keep going. Yes. I wish you were our governor, Larry. Thank you, Kyle. I voted for the first time to make that happen. Thank you. What I was talking about, without question, when I was running, was not just the idea of running the government. I was talking about the idea of running the government via a van. And I'm not van. The van down by the river. I'm teasing. No, not that. No, a bus. Seriously, an actual bus where I could run the government out of a bus. I was going to sell. Our governor, I think, has 2 or 3 helicopters. I think he has 2 helicopters. So I'll sell one. Sell a helicopter. And whatever the value of a helicopter is, sell that. And I'm sure it's cheaper than it's more expensive than a bus. I'm sure a bus is cheaper than a helicopter, whatever the prices are. I'm not a helicopter or a sales rep, so I don't know what they cost. But whatever they cost, I'm sure I can get a cool decked out bus with all the cool satellite stuff I need to run the government out of a bus. And I could take the bus across the state to keep in touch with the actual average New Yorkers, right? Spend a week on Long Island, a week in New York City, a week in Hudson Valley, a week in North Country, a week in Central New York, a week in the Southern Tier, a week in Western New York, wherever I need to go, right? I can spend time all across the state connecting, understanding that this does matter. Absolutely. Yes. So thank you for sharing, by the way. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. Is this an SNL clip? No, this is from Reason Magazine, Paul. Absolutely. Thank you. Hold on. Even if I had $10, I wouldn't give it to any of this bullshit. CJ, do you not like what I'm doing? I don't know. It's good stuff. I don't know why you don't like it. You don't have to give $10. It's not required. You can watch it for free. I don't mind. What I'd like you to do, if you guys don't have the $10, is please share it. That's free. Please like and I appreciate the comments, CJ. I mean, people put up negative comments and I still pop them up. I don't mind. They pop up. It's all good. I still take it. So I hope you'll change your mind and keep watching. I appreciate it. Yes. Yes. Our guy will keep you safe. Their guy will stick you in a FEMA concentration camp. Yes, I like that. Absolutely. 100%. I love that. So Yay reason. Yes, Sarah, thank you for watching. And thank you for coming on. You were one of the people I brought on Friday. So thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. And you were funny too. And thanks for bringing on Gillespie. Also good. Absolutely. Yeah. I hate negative campaigning. I think half campaign money should go to our national debt. You know, it's funny. You could set up something like that, right? That would actually be realistic campaign finance reform, right? If you're going to run for office, allow people to give whatever they want, right? Make total transparency. You can give whatever you want to any candidate you want. No PACs. PACs should not exist, right? Give whatever you want to individuals. You might go, Larry, corporations and PACs are people. No, they're not. The fact that the courts, Supreme Court would say that, is actually embarrassing. And let me explain why this is so embarrassing. They say, well, corporations are people, so they have First Amendment rights. If that's true, then they should also have Fifth Amendment rights. What does that mean? You shouldn't have to testify or give any information if you're a corporation, if you're under criminal investigation. You're a person. You don't have to self-incriminate. Right? If it's me, if they want to arrest me and think I killed Flynn, I'm not going to kill Flynn. Flynn's a great guy. But I think I'm going to kill Flynn. Okay. Or I kill Flynn. I don't have to testify. I can say nothing. I can say, nope, talk to my lawyer. I'm not telling you nothing. I'm saying nothing. I can do that. I don't do anything. So does that mean if a corporation's in trouble, go, I'm not saying anything. None of my officers say anything. Nothing. Of course not. They have to testify. Of course not. So are you a person? You're not. Can a corporation vote? If it's a person and it was born in the United States, it has a right to vote. It's in the Constitution, isn't it? You're an American citizen. You're born in the United States. If this corporation is a person and it was born in the United States in Delaware, which is where half the corporations were born, it's a human being. It's a person that gets to vote. Gets to vote in Delaware. What's your problem? Doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. That has to go away. The fact that our Supreme Court said that is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's so stupid. It makes no sense. And it destroyed, it made things nothing but worse. You get rid of that concept and then allow people to give whatever they want, but 100% transparent. 100% transparent. And I said, Larry, does that really matter? I have proof it mattered. I have proof. 2 specific times this happened. When did Newt Gingrich run? I think it was 2012, was it, when he was running? 2008? I forgot what he was. Maybe 2016. I forgot. Whenever Newt Gingrich ran. He was backed by this guy, Sheldon Adelson. I don't remember the guy's name. I'm sure someone will correct me. Whatever that person was. Everybody knew that. And he bombed. Everyone knew it was him. They knew who was writing him checks. And that didn't taste right in the American in the American gut. We didn't like that. We didn't like that. And boom. Bloomberg threw half $500 million and got his butt kicked. Why? Everybody knew it was just him doing it. It was just him. We don't like that. We don't like that. Americans do not like that at all. We don't like when one person is trying to buy an election. We like it when it feels like it's not one person. So PACs feel that way. So what does Bernie talk about? Oh, all my donations were $7 or whatever number he said. That feels right to us. If we knew exactly who was buying all the elections, you had to put the name basically on a sleeve equivalent, it would change how things are done. It would also allow third-party candidates to get a big donor to back them, to have a chance at actually making some impact. And it would take corruption out because it wouldn't be corrupt. It would be legal and open and transparent. The corruption by default goes away. You know exactly who wrote those checks, exactly who cared. And if someone tried to give them all of a sudden something, you know it was corrupt because it's all there. I can't give, Bloomberg can't, give his company something special if he's the one who's writing the checks. It's clear who's doing it, right? It's obvious. So that's what we need to do. It could change everything. Yes, exactly, Christine. Citizens United was trying to get money out of politics. Yeah. We'll take care of that. How will that happen? Yeah, exactly. If government declared war on human trafficking, in 20 years, human trafficking would win. Well, in a way it is. I mean, I shouldn't laugh about that because human trafficking is horrible. But if you see what's happening, what the government has done is because their war on prostitution has failed, right? Their war on sex work is failing. So they now have made every time they find a sex worker and who has any type of pimp or manager or whatever it may be, depending on the work they're doing, they call that person a human trafficker. They're being human trafficked. They're a victim of human trafficking. So now it's a war on human trafficking. So the problem with that is, while I get what they're doing, they're trying to make people care about prostitution again, sex work. And many Americans are like, why? Prohibition hasn't worked. I mean, Jesus' best friend was a sex worker, right? So, I mean, it's been for that amount of time that we've had sex workers and more, right? And it hasn't gone away. And it's been illegal for hundreds of years, and it's still here. It's not going away, right? All we're doing is punishing poor women. It's not working. So the government now goes, we got to stop calling it prostitution. We got to stop calling it sex work. Let's call it human trafficking. That'll make people care. And it's worked. People care about it now. But the problem is that the money's being spent on punishing Johns and sex workers, not actual human traffickers. Human trafficking is a thing. But when you mix it with sex work and or prostitution, you just muddy the waters on actual human trafficking. In an attempt to keep the American public caring about them fighting a dumb war on prostitution and sex work, that's a stupid war they shouldn't be fighting. Now it's taking time and money away from the war on something that really would matter, which is human trafficking. This is how government works. We have to make sure we're getting paid. We have to make sure the money's going through it. Remember, government's always two things: a monopoly and a jobs program. It's always those two things. And half the people who are working in it are just trying to keep their jobs. Another perfect example of that. Yes. All right. Unfortunately, negative campaigning works the majority of electorate. It does when it's only two parties. You're correct. When it comes to two parties, it absolutely does work that way. You're right. A big reason is duopoly on the Commission of Presidential Debates. Yes, the CBD was founded by the chairman from both the DNC and RNC in 1987. The two major political parties, they announced creation of a bipartisan commission to sponsor presidential elections. In the 1988 general election campaign, Mr. Frankenkopf indicated that the new Commission on Presidential Debates, a nonprofit group made up of representatives of each party, was not likely to look with favor on including and I'm sure you're going third parties. I'm exactly right. Yes, it's not nonpartisan, right? And there's the difference. Sadly, in our country, in our media, very often the media will use these two phrases interchangeably: nonpartisan and bipartisan. They're very different. They're very different. Nonpartisan means there's no party. Bipartisan means just the top two. But we use it. Well, it's okay because it's bipartisan. No, that's still crappy. Nonpartisan is sometimes crappy. Bipartisan is surely crappy. There's no doubt that's bad. So, yes, absolutely. Lock and Key pack is Libertarian pack. There we go. Come on, Lock and Key. Drop some cash our way. Here in New York, we need you. Yes. All right. All I'm hearing is Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. Is that true? I actually didn't hear that. Did it happen very recently? Maybe it wasn't on the news. Is that true? I'm sure someone will let me know if it's true or not. But that's sad. I didn't want anyone. I don't like when anyone passes away. The advantage of someone like Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing, which is an advantage, but the silver lining to it is that she was a pioneer. Her family is clearly just ecstatically proud of her. So many people are proud of what she's done and what she's able to achieve, particularly when she achieved it. So she was able to have an amazing life, be in the Supreme Court in her 80s, correct? In her 80s. So she lived a long, fruitful, awesome life. Good for her. Sad that she's gone. I feel bad for her family members. Obviously, they loved her and wanted her to probably stay with them a whole lot longer. But she had a wonderful, amazing life and got to the Supreme Court. My God, not a bad life. Particularly if you're a judge and a lawyer. That's your profession. You make the Supreme Court. You get a movie made after you. As far as lives, not a bad one lived. I would call RBG's life. That's a win. That's a win. Sorry to see her go. I don't want anyone. I never ever will ever decide that I'll never gloat on anyone's death. Well, that's not true. Regular people I won't. There are some people I might gloat, but very few will I ever gloat on someone's death. So rest in peace, RBG. And I guess Trump will be picking someone I assume new, unless he's going to wait. I mean, that might be Trump. I wonder if Trump would use this as Trump use either way, right? Trump could either say, look, I'm going to appoint somebody. Look, he uses it for the election. or he could hold off and say, let's wait until after the election. We'll see what he does. I don't know. The problem is, Senate has to agree on what they want to do. My assumption is, and this isn't a Republican thing, it's a political thing, is that they'll use this to what they think is the best of their ability. If they think holding on, right? The thing to remember is one of the reasons someone mentioned it the other day, why do so many evangelical Christians support Donald Trump when he's not very Christian himself? It's a good question, and it's true. He's not a very good Christian, that's for sure. But he does support evangelical Christian ideals a lot. He's been very good to them when it comes to policy and rhetoric and picking judges. He has supported that part of his constituency very well. That Trump, I'll give him credit for that. Absolutely. He's not a great Christian, right? I don't consider good Christians cheating on their wives, having sex with porn stars. That's, look, I don't judge people for that. If that's your thing, enjoy. Sex work is work. Enjoy. But you shouldn't call yourself an amazing Christian, traditional Christian, and then do those things. That's hypocritical. But besides that point, he has absolutely supported the evangelical arm or wing of his constituency very well. I get why they support him. I mean, he's been better than any recent Republican president. It's not even close. He's been the best for them. So, of course, they support him. So does he hold off and say, see, you got to elect me so you get one more? Does that motivate the base if he holds off? Or does he say, here, let me show you how good I am. Here's another judge. So now elect me. I'm not sure which way to go. My gut says that he'll wait. That's my gut, but who knows? Who knows? Thank you. My point is, if a candidate wants to spend $100,000 in negative campaigning or positive campaigning, they should match the $100,000 to our national debt. Well, what I would say, Flynn, is, I mean, that's not necessarily that concept's not a bad concept. What I mean by that is, if you're saying that you want to donate to a campaign, and the campaign should pay something to the nation to pay off the debt, I could see something like that happening. But you're saying only if it's negative, or then you have to judge whether it's negative or positive. If you're going to implement some kind of rule like that, like if you're going to run for office, you're going to help pay for the campaign, right? The election. That's not a bad idea, right? So if you're going to run in the election, then you have to foot some of the bill that the government pays for the election. That's not crazy. It's not an anti-libertarian idea. Pay to play, right? You're playing, you got to pay for it. Okay. But then in that case, it wouldn't be fair if you did a flat dollar amount, because then the smaller candidates, who in theory are using less because they're getting less press, they're getting less people to show up, they're paying more relatively to the bigger candidates, right? So you do a percentage. You'd say of every dollar you raise, you got to give 3 cents to the local and state for their elections, and then 1 cent to the federal, whatever. That kind of thing could work, because then it's only those who are running and you're paying for the election. That kind of thing could work. But once you start doing $100,000 or negative or positive, you're either hurting the smaller ones, or now everything's up to interpretation. It's up to interpretation. The two major parties are never going to be negative, and the third parties are always going to be negative, which is going to hammer them. So if you're going to go that route, Flynn, I think it's got to be a straight percentage. I can't think of any other way of making that happen. So, all right. Yes. Ruth Bader Ginsburg did indeed pass. There we go. 87 years old. Yes. 87 years old. Yep. Us versus them, the lowest form of human psychology. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Member of the LP here. I thank you that. Yes. Another registered. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. Yes. Yes, of course you'll switch. Switch as soon as you can. If you're in New York today. Yes. Don't be a jerk. Yes. See that? That's my message. That's my message. Larry Sharpe. Don't be a jerk. That's it. At least for 2 months, right? At least till the election. At least till the election's over. Give me 2 months of not being a jerk. That's it. Yes. I was just talking to my friend about how I think we should talk about who we politically support on our Facebook pages, not bash. Yes. Right. I get it's easy to bash people we don't like. It is easier. I know it is. I'm saying it's better if you just promote who you want to promote. And let them talk. Let them talk. It's much better. I agree. Larry Sharpe, I want you to run for governor of California. There's a problem. I don't live in California, but I appreciate that. Since I realize you'd rather stay in New York, got any recommendations for California governor candidate who has your opinions at many levels, especially the school idea of limiting federal support to give teachers more abilities to innovate? I don't know who supports that policy. I don't. If I were to leave New York, it wouldn't be for California. I already basically live on East Coast California. If I leave New York, it's not going to California. Sorry. I appreciate that, but that's not going to happen. To be forward, anybody who wants to take my policies, please take them. For those of you who remember me going on Joe Rogan, at the end of Joe Rogan said, Larry, whose ideas are these? I said, well, me and my team, we made them. Like, oh, it's great. You got to lock them down. I said, why? He goes, people will take them. I'm like, take them. Take them. I was literally upstate, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and I had some candidate who I was supporting was spouting my policy. And I was like, good policy. Love that. That's a good policy right there. I was just clapping. All right. Keep going. He's running. I'm not. That's his policy. He didn't give me any credit, and I don't care. Steal my stuff and don't give me credit. I don't care. I want to fix the country. Take any idea that works for you. It's now yours. You're running. It's your policy. I'll stand outside and clap. Oh, good. Yes. I will clap. All right. Let me grab a couple more if I can. All right. Where was that last one? Okay. Covered that one already. Good. All right. Thank you for all you registered libertarians. I appreciate all those. Gotcha. All right. The Jorgensen / Cohen shot themselves in the foot with all the woke talk. Wouldn't be surprised to get less votes than Johnson Weld. You know, I'm unsure, to be fair with you. I don't know, Brian. This election for me, and maybe some of you disagree, but for me, this election is the most confusing for me. 2016 messed me up in that I really thought the data was trustworthy and was really working. And now I don't know what data to believe. So I don't know, right, how well they're actually doing. I also don't know how well Trump or Biden's doing. I don't know what data to trust. And maybe now I'm just a little gun shy. So maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But there is something to realize, Brian, and there is a thing we have to deal with. And some of you people on the right will be upset about this. But it's still true. We have to handle it in some way, shape, or form. There is a woke off going on in America right now. I'm more woke than you. No, you're more woke than that guy. There's a woke off going on. And if you don't somehow address the woke off in some way, I'm not saying their way was the best way, Brian. It's not what I'm saying. I am saying we have to address it in some way because the woke off is real. You are seeing so many people rush to be woke and to just shoot themselves in the foot to be so, no matter what. And we need the votes. We have to convert them. And I want to convert people. So we do have to deal with it. I think November will tell whether they did the right thing or not, right? If they get their butt kicked, then yeah, there was the wrong thing probably. But if they do well, you might be wrong, Brian. I don't really know. But I get your point. I think they got a lot of pushback, and they're still getting pushback. I think that's true. I get a lot of people complain when I'm out. I get the complaints all the time. So I know it made some people angry. I don't know if it pulled enough over to make up for those who are angry. And I also don't know if those angry people, while they're angry, might still vote Jorgensen Cohen anyway. I don't know. I guess I can say I hope you're wrong, but you might be right. I hope you're wrong. There is a reality here. We do have to realize something. The country still, to this day, right now, is still going left overall. There are some tweaks here or there, but overall it's going left. I do think that COVID, believe it or not, is gonna in the long run move people more right. And you're gonna say, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. In the short run, I think it's gonna push people more left. In the short run, fear, we need government control. I think a lot of that's gonna happen over the next 6 months to a year, maybe. I think you're gonna see that. But I think in the long run, it's actually gonna push people more right for several reasons. Whenever the data finally comes out on what COVID is not as bad as the government made it sound. It's bad. It hurts people and it kills people. That's true. There's no doubt. But I think in the long run, data is going to come out and it's going to be mixed and gray. And was it that bad when that happens? And second, when the economic and social devastation that actually hits us next year hits, people will be like, what the hell was the government thinking? That's going to move us more towards the right. But the second piece is cities are going to start depopulating. And the major reason, there are many reasons, obviously, why the country's been moving left, but the major number one reason, without question, the number one reason is urbanization. People moving into cities, abandoning their family and their friends and moving to a strange city, multiple roommates living on top of each other, begging for a referee, therefore by default being government, asking more government, people turning more left. As the cities depopulate, I think people move more towards rural areas, suburban areas. Those people tend to be more right. So I think short run, 6 months or a year, I think the country is going to keep shifting left for a bit. Long run, it's going to move a little bit towards the right. I don't know how far it is or not. But the woke off is real, Brian. I went long on your point because your point is one I hear often, right? You're not the only person telling me this, Brian. A lot of people are saying this. So I think short run is going to move more left. Longer term is going to start to bounce a little bit more right. I don't know what's going to happen in the long run. We'll see how the response to COVID actually lands, and then what stories that they tell them, what stories we'll believe, right? Are they going to believe that Cuomo was the best? They're going to believe, oh, Trump did everything perfectly. What stories are they going to believe? I don't really know. So thank you for that. Yeah. So yes, Ruth Bader just died. Thank you. Yes, she did. Absolutely. You never win an argument. You never lose a conversation. Look at that, Tim, coming up with the cool sayings. I like that. Absolutely. Yes. No one knows how to have a conversation. I'm going to tell you how to have a conversation, Miss Kathleen. I'm going to tell you. When someone begins to start to spout whatever they think their issue is, and it's usually either Trump's great or Trump's evil. One of those two is the most common thing, right? I'm teasing, but I hear that so often. I hear either Trump is great or Trump's evil. One of the two is all I ever hear, but it's fine. Whatever they say, focus on them. I'm very serious. This happened just recently. I was in Staten Island and someone came up talking about how she can't stand socialists and the socialists are evil and we got to vote against the socialists and everyone. And that's all it was. She wasn't talking about a specific policy or issue, just hate socialists, hate socialists, hate socialists. So she was like, well, is Joe anti-socialist? I'm like, no, she's anti-socialist. But again, Brian's comment. Yeah, Brian. Very apropos. That actually came up in Staten Island, yes. So that actually came up. Ba-boom. So what I did was instead of fighting her or defending Joe or fighting socialism or defending socialism, none of those things. I didn't do any of those things. All I asked her was, tell me what one of your issues is. So I did. And then she mentioned, I think it was immigration, I think. And then I explained what a libertarian answer for immigration was. Well, is that a good answer? She went, oh, that's a good idea. I said, then you should vote libertarian. And that was it. Right? She came yelling about how socialism is evil, and that's all she wanted to do. I could have fought her or not fought her or agreed or whatever. I pushed her into and if I just would have fought her, I might have pushed her into Trump. Well, she was already a Trump supporter. But I gave the option of going our route by saying, here, what do you care about? Here's an answer. Is that good? She was like, yeah, that's a good answer. I said, maybe she's libertarian. She took the pamphlet that we had at the event. Maybe we got another vote. We'll see. I don't really know. So you want to know how to have a conversation? Talk about the other. Talk about the other. The more, there's an old saying in conversing in networking. The more they're talking, the more you're winning. I'm trying it again. The more they're talking, the more you're winning. You will win a whole lot more friends having people talk about themselves than you talk about you. Talk about them. Important. Yes. It's nothing that strengthens the Biden base on top of being sad. I don't know. I must have missed that the beginning of that one. I apologize. Yes. My main point is if you're serious about this country, you should invest into it. I agree. 100%. One of the best ways you can invest into this country is by starting your own business. That is probably the best way you can invest in this country. If you start your own business, you're getting hammered in taxes, so you're paying taxes anyway. But not just that, you're putting all of you into that business to support your community, I hope, or a larger community. And hopefully you hire people and they will support their communities. Yes, yes, and yes. All good. All right. Let's see. Respect the business first and foremost. Yes, that's it. Yes, absolutely. I wear the mask. I don't want the business getting in trouble. It doesn't make sense. Why would I want to hammer them? They're being good and letting me speak at their event. They want me to wear a mask. I'm wearing a mask. Done. And a couple. I've done, I think, 19 different events, and I think I only wore a mask in 3 or 4 of them. And that was, I was inside, and either I couldn't get 6 feet apart, or the local mandate said I needed to, or the business said, look, I don't want to get in trouble, wear your mask. In those cases, I was like, yep, mask it is. Absolutely mask it is. 100%. Yes. I could see masks becoming part of American culture even after the pandemic. It's going to, there's no doubt. And the example I'll give you is East Asian cultures, right? If any of you live in a large city like New York City and you have a Chinatown or Koreatown or some East Asian culture town, you've seen people walking around it before COVID with masks on because they went through SARS and bird flu and all those things in East Asia several years ago. And now if they get sick or ill or immune compromised, you'll see people wearing masks even when there's no virus. My mother, who is not East Asian, when she passed away, she was doing chemo and she died of cancer. So 7 years ago, give or take, in that area, she wore a mask when she went out because she didn't want to catch anything because she was afraid on chemo that she would get an infection and die. So I think it will be. I think people will be wearing masks for a while. And that's what I mean by that, right? When you do this to our culture for more than a month, you change our culture. You change our habits, right? The problem I have is, how do we turn this country around when everything's going towards more fear, more fear, more fear, more fear, more waiting for the government to give us answers? At one point, are we going to become so afraid that we're either paralyzed or that we just don't care anymore? At one point, it's just go, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired of being afraid. Just I'll die of something. You just do that, right? And then you go the opposite way, right? You start doing crazy. You become self-destructive. Is that what begins to happen? I hope not, but I think it will become part of our culture. It is already. How we date, how we talk, how we do business. All those things are happening right now. Absolutely. I wear a mask even when I don't wear a mask. It's part of being an individual. Look at that. Look at him being deep. Charles, nice. Tim, you see, he's coming up with good stuff. But up your game. You better up your game, Tim. Charles is hitting it. Yes. Her death should not be met with politics but mourning. As I just did. I don't. I will praise. I always give people, when the best of my ability, I shouldn't say always, is not always, but I try the best of my ability to give people credit where credit is due. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, minute to the Supreme Court. Well done. Well done. Whether you agree with what she said or not, still well done. Good for her. I'm very happy that she had a good, long, successful life and career. I feel bad for her family, who I'm sure they wish that they could keep her longer. Yes. Yes. Voting him out is definitely priority one. There's a lot of, as I was saying, we have, as a society recently, become united by what we're against, not what we're for. And this is left and right. This isn't just Democrats. But right now, because of Trump, it's heavily Democrats. When it was Obama, it was heavily Republicans, right? There was someone to say he's the bad one. And it united lots of people who wouldn't be very united. The Democratic Party, for those of you who are Democrats, know there is a battle within it right now, right? I live in New York City. I know lots of Democrats. There's that side that's more of the, can't we just go back to like mainstream Democrats? Can't we do that? Is that side. The other side is, no, Bernie or bust. Got to go all the way. AOC's the future. There's those two sides who are kind of fighting each other. And there's people in the middle, right, who are fighting all over. What Trump has, the downside, if you're a Republican of Trump, upside if you're a Democrat, is Trump has, by their hatred to him, it has united the left. The left is all about, she's right? She's totally right. All about getting rid of Trump. That is a number one thing I hear. Blue no matter who, I have heard, I don't know how many times in New York City. That's a thing. Got to get him out, get rid of Trump no matter what. The advantage or disadvantage of living in New York State is it doesn't matter. Biden gets New York State's votes. Either way, it's 3-1 Democrat. So they're going to get it either way. So I try not to argue with people. I feel like opinions are so polarized and politicized that conversations turn into arguments too quick. People struggle with libertarian view as it usually doesn't fit nicely into most people's left-right boxes. Yes, which is why you never hear me say that I'm libertarian until after we start talking. I just start giving people answers. I talk about policies. What do we agree upon? And then eventually, if you do it perfectly, James, and it's very hard to do, I don't always get it right. But when I get it right, I know, because I know when I got it right when they go, oh, so you're a whatever they are. So if they're Republican, they go, oh, so you're a Republican? Or if they're Democrat, oh, so you're a Democrat? If they assume I'm the same party as them, I'm winning. I'm winning. Because all they heard was a good answer, and their mind has decided that, well, the other side's evil, so they can't have a good answer. So if a good answer pops up, it's clearly my side. So they immediately will say, oh, so you are whatever they are. If that happens, I win. And that's my goal. I want that to be the case. Yes. Yes, she has just died. However, there won't be a replacement until 2021 because of the Biden-McConnell rule. Oh, see, I didn't even know that. Thank you, David. That I learned something new today. But I assumed they push it off. I said it before I even heard that. I assumed to be pushed off till after the election. But look, I got to tell you, if someone's going to break a Biden-McConnell rule, it's going to be Trump. If someone's going to break that rule, and I'm not sure Republicans would want to fight him right now if he decided to break it. I don't think Trump will, but if somebody was gonna, it would be Trump. He'd break the rule and go, you know what? I'm doing it next week. We're putting so-and-so in. I think the Republicans in the Senate would bend. I think they would. I think because they want Trump to win. I think, David, that if Trump pushed it to break the rule, I think the Republican Senate would absolutely bend because they want him to win. They say, fine. That if you think that'll get you to win, let's do it. They need to break the rule. Yeah. All right. Many people will mourn, especially our fellow justices and Democrats. Yep. The Democrats will try to prevent Trump from placing her before the election. Yeah. Members of the Democratic Party will be re-inspired to vote. Ooh, that, you know, Helen, that you know what? I'm not sure, right? Don't you think that Democrats are already totally fired up? Right? The woman before, I'm sorry, I was it Miss Brown who posted earlier saying that, you know, the number one thing is to get rid of Trump. I think they're kind of already motivated. Does it re-motivate them? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure Democrats gain much from this. I think they were already pretty motivated. You know, I think it already was. All right. There we go. Another rip. Yes. Rest in peace. Absolutely. Well, to be honest, corporations are considered an individual cause. In the court of law, you can't sue a thing like a car. So in order to sue a business, to be legally considered an individual. I guess. Okay. But a car isn't a collection of people. Right? Is it a little bit of a difference, right? A car isn't a collection of people. Could you sue a carpool if they were all together legally in some way? Maybe. I don't know. Right? A corporation is a collection of people. So I think that's what I would see as a difference, right? You're suing a collection of people. Yeah. All right. Sex work should be legal, but pimps should be illegal. The violence involved with pimps is evil. Yeah, but you get rid of pimps if you simply make sex work legal. That's the point, William. Pimps exist because it's illegal. When sex work is legal, the women can just go to the cops. And the other idiocy of shutting down the back page or whatever, is it back page, backstage? Whatever was that, the idea that, you know, they can't go online anymore because that's considered, I guess, bad or illegal, whatever the case may be. I mean, how stupid was that? If you keep the internet up and make it legal, less women even require any type of pimp or any type of manager or any type of, you just need a regular management company. You basically would have a social media management company. I mean, they wouldn't be a pimp anymore, right? I agree. The violence, for any of you who've known any pimps, sadly I have, but your point's well taken, William. They're generally speaking not nice guys at all. I mean, there are some who've reformed themselves. I think that's true. Some have seen the error of their ways and come back, and most of them have come back for the church. Not all, but most who have returned their life around have turned it around through the church. But there's a lot of pimps that just bad guys. I agree, but they can't do what they do, except that it's illegal, which creates the black market, which allows bad guys to become monsters. That's the point. You make it legal, the whole idea of a pimp goes away. The worst you'll have is maybe some idiots who'll be bad managers, which you have now in every other field, or security guards that are idiots, and you have that in every other field too, right? I'm not saying security guards are idiots, but you will have security guards who are idiots, right? You have some of those, but I think most security that the women will hire, and men too, I shouldn't say that there are obviously male sex workers too, so most of them are women, obviously, but the security that they'll hire will be generally good security, like most security is good. There'll be a couple knuckleheads because there's always knuckleheads. Most managers will probably be pretty good, but some will be bad because there are some that'll be bad. I think you just make it legal. I think that violence goes away. I mean, almost, not overnight, but almost overnight. Absolutely. David thinks that Trump will race to get someone confirmed. We'll see. I think he lets it go. I think he lets it go to 2021 or whatever that rule is. I don't think he breaks the rule. But again, if anyone were to break the rule, I think it'll be Trump. Trump is the rebel who would do that, but I don't think he will. I don't think he would do it. Yes. Wow, it happened in the last hour. Wow. Okay, that means there we go. Just happened. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can grab. All right. Yes. Wow, I appreciate that. Yes. If you leave New York, come to Florida. Thank you. I actually have family in Orlando, so I guess I could go to Orlando area. I have some family there. I could. The Sharpe family, my father's side, is actually in Orlando. So there we go. My mother's side is in Germany. So I guess I go to Germany too, but what are you gonna do? South Dakota is a libertarian state. That is true. It is. We did very well in South Dakota. Was it 7 or 8% in South Dakota in 2016? So we might do well again. Yes. Maybe. We'll see how that works. I think it's a good idea. I like focusing. That was my whole plan, as I talked about it when I was running with the judge to run for president, was to focus on states like that first to gain momentum, which would then gain press, which would then move press to the main street, which would get us by default into polls, local polls. Local polls would be as the larger polls. How do I know that? That's what I did in New York State. I was going to copy my New York State plan, just nationwide. That was the whole plan. I think it would have worked. Absolutely. Right? 100%. I think it would have worked. That's why I was running with the judge. No other candidate believed in my plan. They all thought that it was a 50-state plan was the only way or whatever. I think that was not a good plan. But we'll see, right? No, November will show I'm right or I'm wrong. We'll find out. But there was no way that I would run with somebody who didn't believe in my plan. Only the judge did. I think South Dakota would have been one of our states. Probably South Dakota, probably Wyoming would have been another one. Maybe Utah, because Utah Republicans don't like Trump very much, right? They don't like Democrats either, but they don't like Trump that much. They hold their nose and they vote for Trump. So that would have been a place that we could have gone. Get 3 or 4 or 5 states like that. Get some local press. Get 8, 9, 10 to 15% in a local poll. All of a sudden, now we're rocking and rolling, and then move to the next. But what do you do? Maybe 2024. We'll see if it'll work then. Absolutely. I give you credit. You give me credit. Much credit. Yes, Tim. Yes. I'm going to stop giving you credit. I'm kidding. I'm just totally kidding. Yes. I will give you credit anyway. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Yes. Sharpe is a Tesla of New York politics. You mean I'm a government grifter? Ooh, kidding. Love Tesla. Just kidding. Anyway. So yes. Teasing. Absolutely teasing. Yes. All right. If I can keep going. I'm a registered libertarian since December 2016. 2016 election was the last straw. Yeah, a lot of people came over in that time. I came over in 2012. A lot of people came over in 2008. Ron Paul was a huge recruiter for us. So was Gary Johnson, but Ron Paul was a huge recruiter, I think bigger. Before that, I think Harry Brown was a massive recruiter for us. I'm trying to be a big recruiter for us to bring us in. So we're seeing that. Never Trump Republicans should consider voting for Joe Jorgensen. I agree, Ellen. That would be a good idea. In fact, never Trump Republicans should consider voting for Joe Jorgensen. And so should Trump Republicans. And so should Democrats and Greens and everybody. But specifically never Trumpers. Yes, absolutely. To be forward, guys, if you live in a state where it's already decided, why would you vote for Trump or Biden? Right? Why would you? It doesn't make any sense to me. Absolutely. All right. That's why I want the minimum wage to be $100 an hour. That's much okay. Well, you know what? I'm more woke than you, Tim. I think the minimum wage should be $150 an hour. I just beat you in a woke off. I am more woke than you, $150. See that? Perfect. Yes. The data is already coming out on COVID. Mainstream is bought and paid for, and therefore not reporting it. Listen to the Ron Paul Libby report. I do think the data is going to come out, and it's not going to be as bad as they said. Again, I want to be clear. I am not a conspiracy theorist, not my person, not who I am. I don't think it's a hoax at all. I think COVID is a real virus that clearly affects particularly older people or pre-existing conditions. I think that's accurate. It's not as bad as they've said. They've made it much bigger than it actually is. And that is my way. And when that comes out, I think people will begin to shift how they think about this. Absolutely. I think they'll begin to shift. Yes. If we're going to move right, hope we move right into the libertarian way. Yes, I'm with you. Let's do it. Absolutely. If people say Cuomo is the best, they're clearly delusional. Andrew, I've met many. There must be a lot of delusional people because I've met many, absolutely many of them. Do you think Cuomo could successfully run for president in 2024? Yes, I do. If he wins the election in 2022, if Biden is elected, depends who wins the election coming up here. If Trump's elected, I think Trump is going to be very mean to New York State in general and to Cuomo in general. And he's going to try to force Cuomo into bankruptcy early. Right? He's going to try to force Cuomo into bankruptcy in 2021 next year and not wait until 2022, not until 2023. I think what will happen is Cuomo will take New York State through bankruptcy in 2023. Some other states will go first if Biden wins, because what will happen is if Biden wins, he'll bail out New York. He'll just write checks to New York. He'll make sure that New York does okay so that his boy Cuomo can win the election in 2022. When that happens, Cuomo will take the state through bankruptcy in 2023. He will blame Trump for everything. COVID's the best thing that could have happened for Cuomo. He can now erase and bury 10 years of horrible mismanagement, of terrible governing, and say COVID did it all, and COVID's all Trump's fault, and Trump did everything, and he's already doing that, right? He's already doing that already. He's writing a book now. He's writing a book on how he saved the world and how great he was. I'm not joking. He's writing a book on this. There'll probably be a Netflix special on it next, right? So how he saved the world. So he'll do that, and if that spin works well, and he can take New York through bankruptcy throughout the year of 2023, he'll stop and give it to someone else, just take us through receivership while he runs for president. I think it is possible if Biden wins. If Trump wins, I think less chance he can do it. Less chance. He'll probably just stay governor again if he can. I think that's what he'll try to do. Maybe he'll try 2028 or something like that. That's my view. Larry Sharpe, U.S. Supreme Court. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Awesome. Yes. I tried to have a conversation with my left cousin. I was for business choosing what they want to do. She was saying government pays the businesses to stay closed. Her entire argument was people are dying. I don't know how to counter that. Yes, I mean this is a common thing. Why do you not care about the people? Right? The problem is you started with the businesses choosing. That was your problem, Rebecca. Particularly people on the left, when they hear business, because of how we've had crony capitalism for so many years, when they hear things like businesses or free market, they immediately think of massive monopolistic corporations. That's where their brain goes to. And that's what she's thinking. So you don't care, so the stock market go for your big corporate fat cats. That's what he or she thinks. So you got to go right to the people dying piece. If someone says, well, people are dying, you want to say, I hear you, you're right. How do we make that better now and for the future? If government just pays businesses to stay closed, well, there's less money for other things, and businesses don't learn how to save people's lives in the future. So how do we get the businesses to know how to function in this environment to keep people alive? Because what I don't, Rebecca, or to Rebecca's cousin, not only do I want to make people live now, but also I want to protect them for the future. And I want to make it to where they can still have some form of livelihood, some form of purpose, so that a year from now, they haven't lost everything. And while they survived COVID, they now can't handle depression. And they wind up becoming self-destructive from how they feel from the saving them from COVID, put them into a self-destructive mindset. I want to avoid that too. The question is, how do we do that? I think that's where you come from that point, and then you'll have the conversation. Then she can talk. But not just that. Very often, once you even bring up the idea of not being us, remember, it's us versus them. If you don't go with the program, you're one of them. All they want to do now is attack you. So she's going to be like, well, people are dying. And you'll have an idea. And they go, well, people are dying. And what you want to do is simply ask permission. I'm not joking. Ask permission to talk about an idea. Say, cousin, can we talk about it? Is it okay? You want to hear an idea? People are dying. You're an evil conservative or whatever she calls you. If she's left, she's conservative is if she's on the left, conservative is a pejorative term, right? That's an insult. If she's on the left, you're an evil conservative. You then ask it again. I hear you. Look, I want people to not die now and the future. And I want them to not be self-destructive. How do we handle that? Can we talk about that? And when she finally goes, well, yeah, then have the conversation. Because her brain's not open. For those of you who saw, I did an Ithaca event about 2 weeks ago now. The days are all blurring in my mind now. About two weeks ago. And a woman started Andrew's head's going to explode. But the woman started literally saying, her opening, Cuomo did a great job with COVID. That was her opening. She started with that. I, of course, was taken aback by that, as any rational person would be taken aback by that. And I went, okay. I have a plan if you want to hear it. And she just continued to attack. No, and he was doing perfect. And, these dumb masks and people are idiots. And she went down that road. And then I went, okay, I have a plan. Do you want to hear it? People are dumb, blah, blah. I have a plan. Do you want to hear it? And finally she went, well, yeah. And then she heard me. So, Rebecca, to answer your question, bring the conversation to an emotional side, the outcome you want to achieve, bring that up, and repeat asking permission until your cousin says, fine, go ahead. Then have a conversation. You may not turn your cousin, but at least she'll hear you. And when she's finally frustrated by her party, and people always eventually get frustrated by their party, she'll know who to go to. Hopefully you. Thank you for that. Yes. All right. Missy, me too, Joe. Oh, talking about someone else. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss this one. I was a 25 plus year dem. That's how I know we can reach the left. I agree. My wife was too. People always go, you can't get the left. You're wrong. You can. It can be hard to get the left sometimes. Depends. It can be, Rebecca. It can be challenging, but you can get the left too. I'm greedy. I want everybody. I want left. I want right. I want middle. I want those who don't care. I want authoritarians. I want libertarians. I want them all. I'm greedy. I want all of them. I want you too, Missy. I want them all. Every single one of them. I'm absolutely greedy. Yes, absolutely. Larry, what's your opinion on libertarian socialism? Too many libertarians don't get it and think it's an oxymoron. Well, it actually isn't an oxymoron. It does sound like one, though, right? If you just hear it, it does sound like one. So I get why they get that. I don't fight the libertarian socialists at all. I'm happy the lib socks exist. I want them as part of the party. People might say, well, why? They're socialists or whatever. Yeah. And is a big piece. They're about voluntary socialism, which some people don't even understand it to be true. It is true. Ask the Amish. They can let you know that's true. It actually does exist. Ask, church groups that have a lot of control over their people and demand a lot from their people, and the people give it voluntarily, right? Ask them. They'll tell you, yeah, it does exist. But not just that. It is a gateway for the left, right? The left often has trouble coming to us because the mainstream media has decided that libertarians are just hardcore right, which is not accurate. I'm sorry, there are some of us who are, but most aren't. Most are not hardcore right, but some are. They've said that that's what everybody is in the libertarian movement, and it's not true. We're the most diverse party of them all. So I think we need to have a libertarian socialist caucus. I'm happy we have the Lib Sox with us. Please don't go away. Please stay. I want them to stay because we have a right to be socialist if we want to voluntarily. People do it all the time. People say, and I've had people get mad at me. Larry, how can you be voluntarily a socialist? We do it all the time. People give money to church groups, civic associations, and someone else spends the money how they see fit, and they take your money, but it's voluntary. You agree to give them the money, and they do what they want with it. And sometimes they do it fairly or equally or whatever. If you get mad, you leave. It's voluntarily. People join. Literally, they join the military. That's literally socialism. Just join it. Right? Everyone who's an E1, E2, they're all the same, pays all the same. Yeah, but you volunteered, right? There's another purpose. You volunteered, and you can leave, right? You do your 4 years, you leave. You lose your freedom of speech. So you're literally also, basically jailing yourself in a way. You have to go where the government tells you to go. I know I was married for 7 years. The government told me where to go, and I had to go there. The government told me where to live and I had to live there. Yeah, the government literally told me what to wear and I had to wear it. But that's okay. I volunteered. I'm not unhappy I did that. I volunteered. I decided to do so. That was me surrendering my rights voluntarily. And I think people check themselves into rehab. You just check yourself into a jail all the time. So it's totally fine. Happy to have them aboard. No problem. Even though people get mad at me, I don't care. I'm happy they're there. Please, lip socks, stay. Happy to have you in the party. And again, they are a very easy movement for people from the left to come start talking to us, to hear what we have to say. 100%. A few of my friends in other states can see him being the Dem nominee in 2024. Yes, absolutely. So if I can grab that. We can always have a masquerade ball or party if masks become part of the culture. Oh, see, Andrew's thinking. I love that. Andrew's absolutely thinking yes. 100, I love that. Good. Bernie or Bush should vote for Howie Hawkins. You know, I don't want to hear that, Paul, but you're right. I mean, Hawkins is the socialist candidate, literally. Howie Hawkins has the endorsement of the American Socialist Party. So he has the endorsement of them. He is a socialist candidate. He's the most socialist of all their candidates. But he's the nicest socialist I've ever met. So I guess that's one advantage. But Bernie or Bush could also vote Libertarian. Why not? There's a LibSoc caucus. We were just talking about it. Absolutely. 100%. All right. Vote gold no matter who. I like that. Yes. Be bold. Vote gold. Absolutely. Andrew, I was Democrat for 2 years, Republican for 2 years, Independent for 2 years. I've heard and seen it all. I like that, Andrew. You jumped all around. And I'm glad you're home now. I'm glad you're here. Absolutely. Yes. You can be fired for talking politics at work these days. Happens a lot. 100%. It's sad and it's true, but it's sad. Absolutely. Yes. Vote blue no matter who. Vote gold to end the chokehold. Charles, look at you. Vote gold to end the chokehold. I like that. There we go. I love that. We are rocking and rolling. All right. See if I can keep going here. 31 years of registered Dem, not anymore. Guys, you see it here. I have preached this for 3 years. I'm not joking. I've preached this for 3 years. This is the only, literally the only party that can easily bring Democrats and Republicans together. We are the healing movement, the healing party. We can do this. Thank you, Mary Jo, so much for putting it up. We can do this. Just because you might lean left or you might lean right doesn't mean you can't join us. You can. Where I was just in Brooklyn. Some of you, if you've been watching some of my live streams, you can hear the difference in people talking. There is a difference between a Brooklyn libertarian, a Manhattan libertarian, and say a Herkimer County libertarian or a Yates County libertarian. They are different libertarians, meaning different things matter to them, different priorities for them. But the number one thing they want is Brooklyn wants to be Brooklyn and wants to let Yates County be Yates. And Yates wants to be Yates and let Brooklyn be Brooklyn. That's the key issue. Let people be who they want to be. We want to be us. You can be you. Life is good. If we do that, now we can rock and roll. It's all voluntary, and that's the issue. That's what I see, that only Democrats and Republicans, the Democrats and Republicans only come to us. They can't come to each other. They go across the aisle, they lose their seat. Right? Justin Amash showed us this. He actually put together a tripartisan bill. No one else could do that. Only he can. Only libertarians can. We are the way we can heal. Libertarian movement is what heals us. That's the answer. And so many people sadly don't see it, but they should. It does matter. All right. I'm sorry. Lip socks. Okay, my head hurts. That's what they call themselves. I didn't make that up, right? I would never call someone a name that they don't self-identify as. Libertarian socialists identify as lip socks. That's why I say that, because they self-identify that way. It's not an insult. That's what they do. Yes, absolutely. I need a What Would Larry Sharpe Do bracelet for a reminder for healthy communication. See, that's my next bit of swag. That's it. I don't know. Do I want to put myself in that issue where, like, what would Jesus do? That might not be the right thing. But anyway, maybe. I like the concept tremendously. Maybe that's some swag. Maybe I'll do that. A monastery is voluntary social. It is. Absolutely. And I have a problem. If I actually have a friend who became a Buddhist monk. And the funny thing is, it's going to sound crazy. He was a New Yorker with me. We used to work together. We did a couple jobs together. And he was having a lot of social problems. He was having trouble with his family, with his friends, business, lots of personal problems. And he thought about going off to become a Buddhist monk. And I think he wanted to go to, maybe it was Indonesia or some Southeast Asian country. I've forgotten which one, but I think it was Indonesia. But he wanted to go, and everyone told him, crazy, don't do it. What's wrong with you? It's nuts. And I said, dude, good idea. You're not having success here. You're failing. You want to go. Man, go. Just go do it. I was the only one who told him go do it. And he's like, you know what, Larry, you're right. And he went and did it. He took all of his stuff, sold it, because you have to take a vow of poverty. He sold everything he had, gave it. He had a ex-wife and a kid, if I'm not mistaken, because he got divorced. He gave everything over to his ex-wife and kid. I think he had a book or something. Maybe a book or something. And he literally signed the royalties over to his daughter. Everything went to his family. And he packed up and moved and became a Buddhist monk. Last time I saw him, he was wearing an orange robe, shaved his head. He was pretty happy. He really was. He was happier than he was when I knew him before. He was pretty content and pretty happy. So look, if that's what you need, good on you, man. And that's what I said. That's what he needed. And if you in your life think right now, I need a monastery, go on, man. Do what makes you happy or what you believe will make you happy. That might have been a mistake, looking back at it, but it was the right thing to do. Go on with your bad self. I don't have a problem with that. Do what you think is right for you. The Amish are totally lip socks. Yes. And they do use their religion to organize. They do. Absolutely. Right. If you live in an Amish community, you don't have to have insurance. If your house breaks down, Ezekiel and Jebediah are coming over and building your house up. That's their insurance. The insurance is their social contract that they've actually agreed to, right? That's a real social contract. They agree to that, right? That's voluntary. Yes, my house burns down. You're coming to fix my house. Your house burns down. I'm over there tomorrow rebuilding your house. We've all agreed to that. Totally fine. Totally correct, Tim. Totally fine. Yes. Love the message of unity. Absolutely. Amazon, yes, they are. Yeah, they absolutely are. 100%. A wrist wrap with your initials might be misconstrued as what would LSD. Yes, hey, well, you never know. Absolutely, yes. Wait, you hang out with Buddhist monks and pimps. I said I was greedy, John. I said I want them all. All of them. Pimps and monks and everybody in between. Yes, I want them all. I am greedy. I want all of them. So thank you. Yes. I think it was a Buddhist monk pimp. I've never seen one of those. That would be amazing. If you find one, Charles, please intro me. I'll have him on my show. That would be awesome. Absolutely. Yes. Joe Rogan will definitely have you back on. Well, if I run again, then maybe I'll do that. Guys, I want to thank you for tonight. I know it was kind of a rush show. I appreciate all the feedback. I hope it was good. I think the answer for us to turn this place around is us being the right messengers. That's what I want, us to be the right messengers. Remember, we are the messengers. We are the ambassadors. When people see us, we are the movement. So if you're part of this movement, some of you aren't, some of you just watching because you're interested, I got you. You're not going to go out there, I got it. But some of you are. And those of you who are, remember, you're the messenger. I want to be the messenger. I try to project the right way. I hope you will copy me in projecting the right way. Please like, comment, share. And of course, if you can support, don't listen to CJ who was mad at me. CJ, I hope you're still on. Watch again. Support, sponsor, $10, $25, $100 if you can. If you can't, no worries. I know a lot of us are struggling right now. No worries. Like, comment, share. That's free. Do that now. And as I bug all the time, join my Sharpe Way show. Go click on the YouTube page, right? Click on the Twitter account, all those things. Whatever's going to work. All right, guys, have a great night. I will see you all next week.